All right, folks, good morning and welcome on back here this Monday, April 5th, shortly after 9 a.m. Eastern Time. We just did a sound check live inside our trading room. Should be good to go for all of you folks there, for all of us on social media, Facebook Live, YouTube. Welcome on back. Whew. Nice trade here on the CEMI to start things off here. I'm almost like out of breath here just as I'm starting my intro. Great to see Grant, Dennis, Gene, Michael, Leda all just joining us right now live inside Cyber Group. But man, this CEMI trade to start things off for the week, for the day, obviously, a beautiful push. Ended up making this nice breakout, teased it throughout early pre-market, but once it finally held under 530 pretty nicely, ended up making for a really strong, pop and a beautiful result after. So let me just copy and paste the news here on the CEMI trade to begin. I wanted to jump back on a couple of stocks just back from Thursday of last week. We ended up having Friday off, of course, with Good Friday. I hope everybody, like I said, enjoyed the nice weekend with Easter and, of course, Good Friday there as well, the nice extended weekend. The news on CEMI, ChemBio Diagnostic shares trading higher after the company announced the commercial launch of a test to differentiate between COVID-19 and the flu. So for anyone joining us late inside Cyber Group, going to copy and paste there. Just going to copy and paste for all of us on the stream right now. Give me a quick sec. All right. So, hey, good news. You typically expect to see a stock make a nice pop, move up at some point. Ended up coming out the news in the after hours, looks like. Actually, that was from Thursday of last week. I didn't even catch the time on that snippet. I guess Benzinga Pro repasted that from early pre-market. So either way, with that in mind, ended up consolidating early, right? Like I'd said, teased a couple of false breaks, ended up showing a lot of buying off the 515 level, 520 level, and it started to shake around prior to 8 a.m., some volume getting filled exactly off 530. So I ended up lining this up on my chart here early and wait for it. There we go. You could just see how well 530 ended up holding as a resistance heading into the 830 moves, so to say, right? It was before 830, but ended up making a hell of a pop. And then from that point, ended up squeezing all the way up towards almost 6. I mean, I ended up getting out on this trade at 554. We saw an iceberg order 555. I thought it was right on this bar where I thought right here it was going to make it for a false breakout, kind of come back down a bit to 530, and well, just did not. So Gene right now live inside our trading room picking up 17 cents. So Ken walk away with 50 plus cents on his trade. So who else? I'll scroll back here just pretty briefly. Got Randy, who ended up doing pretty well on a couple of trades. Randy got 12 cents in the CEMI trade. All right, cool. So yeah, heading into the open, the most notable part about the trade outside of the news and the run up is the fact that it's shortable. If this ends up crapping out the other way, then, I always like to say this, at least it could provide a really good short opportunity. For right now, with this move up, it's hard to try and do that. You'd be losing a little bit here and there just on this push up. So you got to wait for the right conditions, wait for this begin to break a lower low, break below support, perhaps some profit taking coming in off the 580 right now temporarily. But nonetheless, heading into the market open, we're going to follow this on the way up first. And then, like I said, if it ends up going south, then we'll try and short it. All right, so there were two stocks just from Thursday of last week. I'm going to try and not trip myself over and say Friday. I did that all last week. So there were two trades from Thursday last week. What was it, the UPC to begin? This one was more pre-market heading into the open. Ended up making the same result as it had made just back 2 days prior. Ended up making this beautiful pop in pre-market early after 8 o'clock. From 480-ish 5 all the way up towards almost 6. I mean, pretty similar move to what we just saw. Now, heading into the open, though, this was definitely less liquid compared to the CEMI stock. I would not expect CEMI to make as volatile of a run up right away at 930 here and for it to get halted right away nonetheless. But just look on the daily chart. History repeats itself. Ended up making a huge pop going into early last week. I think this was Tuesday. Ended up popping from 1050 all the way to 12, dropped all the way back down to 516 and closed, wherever it did. But, here, same thing happened. Ended up getting halted on the way up. Once it reopened up, ended up kind of fizzling back down, and that's it. So no surprise there. It's just simple to say, just look at the daily chart. If you see it happen, not just once, but of course, this is a new IPO. It looks like, outside of this, if there's other occurrences to where you see this pop and drop, pump and dump type play, you got to be careful of that. You got to be mindful of that. So, here for the morning, I don't know. We're not going to really focus on this that much, this stock. And the other one, which we might focus on, I'm at least going to put this on like the side. We'll come back to it at the end, if we don't really have like too many stocks for a Monday morning here and coming off a holiday. But the UXIN ended up making a really nice squeeze up shortly after the open, ended up making that slingshot type of move, broke out from like 140-ish all the way up towards 2. And heading into the late afternoon, we ended up seeing this try and squeeze higher. So let's talk about this pretty quick. So that's, take a day off and you just forget about like the stock and everything else that you end up trading. It's like I always say, like I forget what I had for breakfast this morning, let alone the stocks I traded the day before and the week before. So this freaking thing ended up like trying to fool us so many different times on this pop. Now, it was a very short-lived move, right? This is why we say we don't look to, change your game plan, turn a day trade into a swing trade. I told you folks going into the end of Thursday that I was in this trade, or I was going to get in this trade off the breakout from 203. I got in right away off the pop once the markets closed. I ended up like keeping my finger on the trigger, ended up, getting the pop almost instantly, got in right at 203. But the thing is on this trade, I got out at like 214, 215. I ended up, really quick, I left the new snippet there. Sorry about that, folks, for all of you on YouTube, Facebook Live there. Nonetheless, though, I ended up getting out on this trade, though, in the after hours Thursday at like 214, 215. Popped up much higher, ended up going all the way up towards 234, and then from there kind of fizzled out. But look to see where it is this morning, right? We were trying to swing this, expecting a much bigger move up, or at least to see it hold where it ended up popping up towards in the after hours. Sorry. This thing ended up kind of fizzling back down. This might just break right down lower heading into the open. Similar to the semi stock, it is shortable. I'm not like as keen to focus on this just yet. I mean, like I said, if we have a short, skimpy list, maybe like 4 or 5 stocks at the end of it all, I'll probably slip this on here. But otherwise, we'll just see what we have here, folks, from top to bottom. The CEMI obviously is a huge start to begin for us here. Not just a stock. This will definitely be like a top focus of mine personally heading into the open. Like, for anyone that is in the trading room right now inside Cyber Group, I always tell you folks, like, hey, if you are wondering what I'm watching heading into the open, because Fausto is normally doing this meeting, mind you, right? But when he's doing the meeting, I always say, hey, private chat me, private message me just to see what I'm watching heading into the open. Bullet with number 1 right here, CEMI. That's it. I'm sure there's going to be another one I'll watch, but this one I'm definitely like really super interested in trading and following after 9:30. All right, the NNOX stock. So I do have a little time here. So let me just jump to Benzinga Pro right now. I actually did copy and paste it earlier for Wendy. I want to just go on here though because I don't remember the post exactly. So NNOX trading higher after the company announced on Friday its single source NANX ARC digital X-ray technology has received a 510K clearance from the FDA. All right, cool. Could have just said the FDA part at the start of that. All right, so nonetheless, this ended up making a huge squeeze up early in pre-market. It is like pretty expensive. I'm sure the order book will fill in a little bit after 9:30. It's a level 5 stock. You know who you are if you're looking to trade this. If you're someone consistently making like 1,000 a day, or someone that is exceeding your goals more often than not, then at that point I would look to try and dip your feet in this pool. But I'm going to try and focus on the semi trade. This IGC, this reminded me of IGC when I typed it in early this morning. IGIC, my trader's dyslexia. This thing looks ugly. Getting some chat here from Norman first. I was going to go to Mario, but Norman here, since we're on the NAOV trade, Norman just picked up 4 cents. He was in from 126. So nice exit, most importantly. Now at this point, though, I'll copy and paste the news again for this trade. I'm going to put this on our list. Again, it's almost like for the same like mentality as NNOV, NNOX, that last one. I mean, this one's super slow. It's almost like too slow. So, I like that semi trade a hell of a lot more. So I'll put both on our list. The NAOV trade, what's the news on this? Looks like special meeting has been adjourned for shareholders to allow more time for shareholders to vote. I don't know. That's it. I'm not going to copy and paste that, but yeah, heading into the open, level 1 stock, really liquid order book. Like I said, it might be too slow after 9:30, or at least after like mid to late morning, after like 10 o'clock. If it hasn't broken out just yet, I would probably just take your eyes off it and go on something else. Probably do that much earlier than 10:30 in the morning. Let's see what else we have here, folks. We'll just skim down here because at this point, if there's nothing else that's really up that big, unless if it's popping right now in our face, then, I'll kind of figure it out here. The BPTH, for example, not only is it popping in our face right now, over the last minute just broke out here, but it is one that we've traded in the past. It's one that caught my eye early in pre-market. I'll copy and paste the news for this in just a second, but more importantly, I want to show this big squeeze up. This was, back from 2021. I got to go back more. Yeah, this is the move that we caught. And then from, early this year, I guess, too, but more from 2019. You remember moves like this over time. Ended up popping from basically, we'll call it like 3, opened at 265, let's say it popped over 3, ran all the way to 884. Dumped off the next couple of days, but then the following few days after, obviously, you see what happened. Ran all the way over 70 before it dumped back down again. So, like I said, that's the type of trade that you'll just remember over time. So when I saw BPTH up early pre-market, I'm like, all right, well, we're definitely going to put this on our list regardless of, pretty much how it looks, if it's trading a lot of volume coming off of news. So the news I'm going to copy and paste on this, BPTH trading higher. A bunch of words above my pronunciation level. So how about that? I'm going to just copy and paste it here for you folks. Looks like phase 2. So Fausto is ignorant to the news there, huh? No, I love following the news, but listen, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a pharma guy. So at the end of the day, looks like it's for acute myeloid leukemia. And, outside of that, just, hey, hey, we're going to try and follow this pop here at this point. So breaking out over 850 seemingly, I would wait for a pullback after the market opens up on it. All right. Did I mention Leaf? So Leaf is a buyout. Yeah, I saw that right away, Michael. It was like flat, like popped and then flat line, so I'll just show it, but stock Leaf's a buyout. SNCA. Did I put this on the pre-market? No, I didn't. This one reminded me similar to the NAOV trade. I don't know what the news is, but it seems pretty slow. It seems like it's less liquid compared to the NAOV, which means perhaps this could make a more volatile pop once the market opens. If there's not as much volume to cut through on the order book, then perhaps it can make a quicker move up. So I'll keep this on the side. The SNCA stock, it has been like a pump and dump type of stock in the past too. You can just see here. All right. So the other chat I wanted to get to from Mario here in the chat board, and then from Kathleen also, who I didn't see, but yeah, new high of the day on AMC popped over 10. So we would have found this anyway, scrolling down the gainers list, probably just like one more scroll down would have found it. But nonetheless, AMC, I think it was like a price upgrade for AMC. Some firm ended up providing a new target for AMC here. Copy and paste that also here, I guess. But here we go. All right. So BR Riley or B Riley FBR upgrades AMC to $13 price target. That's the news on this one. All right, so we love trading AMC, right? So this was pretty much the other stock, one of the other, maybe 2 or 3 stocks that would have been interested in following once the market opens up myself. So, CEMI, AMC, those two we're going to put at the top of our list. AMC we're just very familiar with. So we're not guaranteeing a pop up to 13, let alone 12, let alone 11. So, we'll just see what happens once the market opens. But if we happen to see more buying coming in off the 10 level, perhaps 10.02, we could see this, look to make the run we would hope for. All right, so let's see any other familiar names because that was a great call on AMC. ZKIN, I typed earlier, right, when I logged in the chat board. It's like almost like every day where like there's like a big pop on this stock, some sort of news coming out on it. This ended up like pumping and dumping already, right? It dropped all the way down towards 10, bounced briefly. The order book is so scarce. I'd be pretty careful on this stock. Like I'd said before with the NNOX, like this one we're pretty familiar with at least, but it's like a level 4 to 5 stock. You know who you are if you should be trading this. AMC again, news. All right, so let's see what else we got here on the gainer side. Just any other familiar names quick. Semiconductor ETF, SOXL, pretty interesting, up like 5+%. Pretty interesting because some semiconductor stocks, this is like my personal favorite sector to follow, or it has been at least before, like, pod, EV, and, Bitcoin, obviously, me. But like AMD, it's not up like nearly as much as SOXL is, the semiconductor ETF, but this could be a pretty sharp move to watch after the market opens. Let's see, maybe Intel, Micron, anything up like more active, big. No, not even. Pretty interesting. All right. Be false alarm there. I don't know. I know the SPY's up once again this morning, but with that ETF up, I would have thought some of the other stocks would have been up more percentage wise, like we happen to see with like Jets airline ETF. Sometimes we see like sometimes we see like AAL make a nice pop with it, or JetBlue, who I know had like another price upgrade on that this morning. All right. Never mind. Let's hop over to the losers list, see if there's anything over there. We'll just, ask around after, see if there's anything, making big moves that I haven't looked at just yet. You have the ACAD stock down big. I'm actually going to jump to Benzinga Pro for this one here. So I guess it would be earnings, but I'll just double check. Oh, no, I'm wrong. So that's why I jumped to Benzinga Pro here. ACAD drops after FDA CRL for an application in hallucinations and dementia-related psychosis. All right, so tripping over my words even there. So let's see. That's the ACAD news. And with that, I mean, hey, $21 stock. I don't mind trading this, or at least looking at this after the market opens. We'll put this on our list for right now. Just hoping the order book fills in a bit more. All right, so here's our UXIN, and then there's our GameStop. We ended up seeing GameStop coming out with news. They end up doing what, like a $3.5 million offering, something of that nature. Ended up dropping off right away, early pre-market, squeezing up, I guess, for right now. We're not going to treat GameStop as a stock, so we're not going to really follow it as much. All right, so the UXIN stock here, I mean, hey, we started off with this pretty much recapping it from Thursday of last week. Ended up beginning to break down right now. So, this could be a decent short. Is shortable from TradeStation. I'll keep this on the side, I guess. We don't really need to put this on our list for right now. It could be a good trade. If you're like looking for a level 1 or level 2 stock, then I wouldn't mind following this perhaps. All right, that's about it. I guess the market's up still. I mean, not a whole lot of stocks on the losers end here that stand out to me. I mean, it's not me being lazy, really. I'm just kind of seeing any other familiar names. Nothing really trading a whole lot of volume outside this, ETF VIX. All right, so let me just jump to the chat boards here. I'll jump to Benzinga Pro and finish it up there from there, folks. I want to make sure that we're all ready going into the market open. Make sure that your charts are all lined up. Make sure that your watch list is kind of concentrated, ready to go. So the CEMI trade pulling back. Norman's just saying here, wanted to look at it right before we finished up. So yeah, pulling back a bit. Ken had a really good exit there. It might pull back to that 530 and bounce initially, and then from there perhaps even break down lower. Be careful of that too. If it re-breaks below 530, a little bit after the market opens, I would anticipate a sharper drop down to 5. So, if you're long and expecting a bounce off there, just watch out for that and be mindful of that. NNN, again, from one of our trial members here, Newton. So for all of our trial members here, first and foremost, welcome aboard, might I say. Here we're most of our members here in our trading room are students or members that have been with CTU for a long while, months, if not years. So that's where I tell you as a trial member, make sure that you speak to one of our members here in our office. If you haven't already scheduled an appointment for today, make sure that you do so. I'm sure that they'll contact you over the phone and look to do that. But otherwise, they're your main point of contact here at CTU. They'll be able to kind of walk you through everything that you see on the screen, and what our students are looking for in a trade, what I'm looking for in a call out. So I see this ticker here, NNN, I guess. It looks like it spiked up going into the end of the day, but there's like no volume on this in pre-market. It's not up or down anything. So this I wouldn't look to follow at all going into the market open. We would rather follow stocks, and even something. How about this? I even forgot to mention this, probably because it hasn't done a whole lot since we put it on the list, but PLTR. I would much rather trade a stock like a PLTR coming off of small news of a contract win. Ended up making a big pop after 7 o'clock when the news broke. Since kind of fizzled out, but it's one that we're pretty familiar with. Actually, forgot to go over this just with us here. So I'm actually going to add this on our watch list heading into the market open. I'm more interested in this PLTR for sure. All right, we got here from YouTube. Welcome aboard, Trader K, saying nice move in that BPTH. Oof, yes. Geez, did not pull back just yet. Continued up towards just about 990. I would imagine big resistance to be off of 10, but I would definitely expect a pullback once the market opens. So it looks like it popped off of retail or much thinner volume on the way up. Now you're getting a lot of volume filled off the top. So, it's in a pretty risky position here in terms of like a crapshoot 50-50 as far as a pop or a pullback once the market opens up. So I'm saying I'd rather wait for the pullback and try and get the lower price. All right, folks. So that just about wraps it up for me. I don't see anything else that's looking as great heading into the market open, and that's fine. I mean, hey, coming off of Easter weekend, I wouldn't have expected as much as we got so far between the CEMI, the BPTH, the AMC as well. So really good list heading into the morning, into the into the week. All right, folks. So for all of us on social media, first and foremost, I hope that you enjoyed this meeting. Fausto, who normally does this morning meeting, he will be back. I believe it is on Thursday. He'll make his official return. But nonetheless, if you have any other questions, make sure that you send over a question right over to my personal email. I'll type it out for you right now. Josh@c2trading.com. My name is Josh Levitan. Been with C2 Cyber Trading University for almost 7 years now. So if you're interested in joining us just for a week, feel free to go right down to the link on the banner below to sign up. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you coming up in the afternoon when I do the afternoon broadcast. Take care.